Oh, the tangled webs we weave in the hallowed halls of royalty. My dears, gather round, because today we're peeling back the gilded layers on a story so astonishing, so utterly drenched in denial, it truly beggars belief. We're talking about a man who, despite having every single royal privilege stripped away, every honor revoked, every door slammed shut in his face, still insists with a stubbornness that could crack concrete on being treated as the prince he emphatically, officially, legally, no longer is. It's a saga of lost rank, a vanished home, and a shattered reputation, all set against the backdrop of a palace that has decidedly, definitively, moved on. Picture this, if you will, a scene unfolding in the quiet, pastoral beauty of the Sandringham estate in March of 2026. The air was crisp, perhaps a hint of spring on the breeze, when the hulking silhouettes of removal vans rumbled their way towards Marsh Farm, Andrew's new, rather modest 5-bedroom abode. Now, these weren't just any old moving trucks, oh no. These were from Gander and White, an art logistics firm, mind you, one that proudly flaunts a royal warrant and grandly proclaims itself custodians of the irreplaceable. And as their uniformed crew began the monumental task of ferrying hundreds upon hundreds of boxes into the house, something truly extraordinary, something utterly defiant, was captured by eagle-eyed cameras. There, emblazoned in bold, undeniable black lettering on countless cardboard containers, were the labels, Her Royal Highness Office, Her Royal Highness Sitting Room, and yes, even Her Royal Highness Meeting Room. My jaw, much like yours, I'm sure, simply dropped. Because, you see, it had been a full 4 months since King Charles III himself, through a formal letters patent issued in November 2025, had unequivocally, irrevocably, removed the His Royal Highness styling from his younger brother. 4 months. And yet, there it was, a silent, defiant declaration written on Andrew's personal belongings, a stark refusal to acknowledge that the last year, with all its seismic shifts and royal demotions, had ever even happened. It was as if time had simply stopped for him, frozen in a moment when the letters HRH still preceded his name. Neither Andrew's notoriously tight-lipped team nor the ever-discreet Buckingham Palace offered a single word of explanation or denial regarding these rather incriminating photographs. But for anyone watching, for anyone with even a passing acquaintance with the intricate dance of royal protocol, the message was as clear as a bell on a frosty morning. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor still, quite unequivocally, sees himself as His Royal Highness. And here's the kicker, my dears, this wasn't the first tremor, the first telltale sign of his stubborn, almost tragic, refusal to simply let go. Oh no, the whispers had begun long before the moving trucks arrived. Reports from all the way across the globe, specifically from Australia's the nightly had already revealed a rather astonishing situation brewing back in November 2025. That was, remember, just after the formal removal of his coveted title. According to these dispatches, Andrew was still, with unwavering insistence, demanding that the staff inside his sprawling former residence, Royal Lodge, address him as His Royal Highness Prince Andrew. Can you even imagine the awkwardness? The sheer tension in the air as loyal palace employees navigated this truly unprecedented directive? One source, speaking with a hushed reverence that hinted at the sheer audacity of it all, claimed that Andrew genuinely considered the title his birthright, something utterly immutable, something that even the reigning monarch, his own brother, could not simply erase with the stroke of a pen. The resulting staff confusion, a veritable quagmire of protocol and personal loyalty, eventually necessitated a direct intervention, a formal directive from on high. And lo and behold, GB News, reporting in February 2026, confirmed what many had suspected. Employees had been explicitly instructed to now call him a singular, rather stark word, Sir. Just, Sir. Imagine, if you will, the profound, almost visceral sting of that singular word, replacing a lifetime of ceremonial address, a lifetime of being heralded as a prince of the realm. It was a downgrade that would undoubtedly wound anyone, but for a man who had once outranked nearly everyone in his immediate orbit, a man accustomed to deference as his due, it must have felt like 1,000 tiny needles, each piercing his carefully constructed sense of self. This almost pathological fixation with rank, with the rigid pecking order that defines the royal world, has been meticulously dissected by royal biographers. Andrew Loney, whose Sunday Times *1 bestseller, entitled, The Rise and Fall of the House of York unflinchingly chronicled Andrew's tumultuous world, has written extensively about this very obsession. In his Substack newsletter, The Loney Report published in March 2026, Lonai laid it all out in plain, unvarnished terms. Titles, the intricate pecking order, the precise, often baffling business of bowing and curtsying, all of it, Lonai asserted, is absolutely vital to Andrew's very being. And here, my dears, is where the real, exquisite humiliation truly kicks in, where the knife twists with a particularly cruel irony. Because while Andrew has been stripped bare of his royal styling, his own beloved daughters, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, still retain their royal titles. The implications, according to the unforgiving dictates of royal protocol, are simply staggering. Andrew, the man who once commanded such respect, such deference, is now, in any family gathering where the rules are observed, required to bow to his own daughters. A father bowing to his children. Can you even fathom the emotional gymnastics required for a man so steeped in his own importance to perform such an act? Robert Hardman, another esteemed royal biographer, confirmed this astonishing shift on the Daily Mail's Palace Confidential podcast, stating with an almost brutal frankness that Andrew will indeed have to bow to everybody, assuming, of course, that he is even present in the room with the rest of the family. Hardman then added, with a knowing sigh, that he doesn't think Andrew will take it well. And honestly, who could blame him? No amount of ingrained entitlement can make the act of bowing to your own offspring an easy, or even tolerable, pill to swallow, but this sense of entitlement, this deeply ingrained belief in his own inherent superiority, isn't some recent development, some byproduct of his current predicament. Oh no, this stretches back decades, long before the titles began to vanish like mist in the morning sun. Paul Burrell, a man who served as Queen Elizabeth's personal footman and later as the beloved Princess Diana's butler, offered a truly illuminating, if somewhat chilling, glimpse behind palace doors in his memoir, The Royal Insider Star. Burrell described witnessing Andrew's pomposity firsthand, recalling instances where the prince would imperiously tell staff to "F off, get out of here." In his book, Burrell painted a vivid picture of Andrew making life hell for the people around him, asserting that he never truly respected palace staff because he genuinely believed that service was simply owed to him, an unquestionable birthright. Burrell, with the keen eye of an insider, traced this profound sense of privilege all the way back to Andrew's childhood. He explained that Queen Elizabeth, by the time her third son came along, finally had the precious gift of time to truly be a mother. After the demands of governing and raising her two elder children, Charles and Anne, during her early reign, Andrew, it seems, became her favorite, the one to whom she rarely, if ever, said no. This doting attention, while perhaps understandable from a mother's perspective, inadvertently fostered an environment where Andrew's every whim was indulged. So much so, that at one point, the Queen herself, a woman not prone to direct confrontation, had to step in and tell Andrew directly that the staff belonged to her, not him, and that he needed to treat them with the respect they deserved. A truly telling anecdote, wouldn't you agree? And if you thought Burrell's account was an isolated incident, think again. Grant Herald, who served as King Charles' butler between 2004 and 2011, painted a strikingly, almost eerily, similar picture in a March 2026 interview with Lad Bible. Herald described Andrew as technically polite, perhaps offering a brief, almost perfunctory, thank you, here and there. But beneath that veneer of politeness, Herald explained, lay an unmistakable, palpable air of entitlement. You got the feeling he thought he was better than everyone, Herald elaborated, just from his mannerisms. What struck Herald most profoundly was the sheer contrast. Because no other member of the royal family, not the indomitable Queen, not the often gruff but ultimately fair Prince Philip, not the now King Charles, nor the no-nonsense Princess Anne, ever gave off that particular energy. Herald recalled a particularly telling incident at the 2005 wedding of Charles and Camilla, where Andrew notoriously refused to speak to any staff members who attended as guests, engaging only with family or close family friends. It was a stark, public display of his perceived superiority. And across the entire royal household, Herald noted with a sigh, none of his colleagues, not a single one, ever had a nice thing to say about Andrew. A truly damning indictment, wouldn't you agree? When those who serve you, those who see you at your most unguarded, consistently offer such a unified opinion, it speaks volumes. The intensity of this ingrained attitude, this unwavering sense of self-importance, did not, it seems, soften in the slightest when the grand titles began to disappear. And then, my dears, came the ultimate, most shocking proof of all, the arrest. On his 66th birthday, the 19th of February 2026, a day that should have been marked by quiet celebration, officers arrived at Wood Farm early in the morning. Their mission? To take Andrew into custody on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It was a bombshell moment, a scene straight out of a gripping royal drama, only this was devastatingly, undeniably real. Sources close to the unfolding drama described a man utterly unable to process what was happening to him. Shock, they recounted, quickly gave way to a furious indignation within moments. One source vividly described a clear, undeniable, "Do you know who I am?" tone emanating from the former prince, a desperate clinging to a past identity that had long since evaporated. Another characterized the entire scene not as panic, but as pure, unadulterated arrogance, adding that Andrew seemed far more insulted by the indignity of the situation than genuinely afraid of its implications. 11 long, agonizing hours of custody followed, before his eventual release under investigation, etching his name into the history books as the first senior British royal to be arrested in almost 400 years. A truly ignominious milestone, wouldn't you say? The fallout was immediate and seismic. Buckingham Palace, it was revealed, had been given absolutely no prior warning about the impending arrest, a truly astonishing breach of protocol. King Charles, clearly blindsided and deeply concerned, responded with a formal statement expressing his deepest concern, while simultaneously insisting, with the unwavering authority of the monarch, that the law must take its course. Even after all of that, even after the public humiliation of an arrest, the demands, my friends, the demands just kept coming. Andrew, ever the optimist, or perhaps, ever the delusional, reportedly continued to push for a sprawling 6 to 7 bedroom house on the Sandringham estate. And not just any house, mind you. This fantasy abode was to come complete with a full retinue of staff, a gardener, a housekeeper, a driver, a cook, and, naturally, a full security detail. To top it all off, he reportedly demanded ironclad guarantees that his royal funding, that precious annual allowance, would continue uninterrupted when his nephew, Prince William, eventually ascended to the throne. The reality awaiting him at Marsh Farm, however, looked nothing, absolutely nothing, like that elaborate wish list. Instead of a full household of staff, the current provision is for just 2 positions, a chef and a valet. And here's the kicker, both of those positions remain unfilled, a testament to the growing resistance, and both are to be funded, rather begrudgingly one imagines, by King Charles himself. The generous £1 million annual allowance that once flowed into Andrew's coffers. Gone. His private security, once a constant shadow, a reassuring presence. Withdrawn. And perhaps most damning of all, a growing, vocal list of Sandringham staff have already, unequivocally, declined to serve him. One source, speaking with a palpable sense of drama, didn't mince words, calling it nothing short of a mutiny. British Royals expert Hilary Fordwich, observing this unprecedented level of resistance, described it as totally unprecedented for any royal, especially senior royals, going so far as to label it something that really amounts to a strike. A royal strike. Can you believe it? The very backbone of the monarchy, the loyal staff, refusing to serve a man who once held such a prominent position. And the public, my dears, the public has spoken with an equally resounding voice. According to YouGov data, over 90% of the British public now hold an unfavourable view of Andrew. A truly staggering statistic, a profound fall from grace. So there we have it, laid bare for all to see. Every title gone, every honour revoked, every door closing, one by one, with the inexorable finality of a prison gate. And yet, the boxes arriving at his new, smaller front door still, stubbornly, defiantly, read, Her Royal Highness. The world, it seems, has irrevocably moved on from Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. But he, with a tragic stubbornness that borders on the theatrical, has simply not moved on from himself. He remains, frozen in time, a prince in his own mind, even as the tides of reality crash relentlessly against his gilded, but ultimately fragile, fortress of denial. And as the sun sets on this particular chapter of royal drama, one can only wonder what further acts of defiance, what further displays of a truly unshakable belief in his own lost grandeur, this once senior royal will present to a world that has, in no uncertain terms, decided its verdict.